Hey everyone, welcome back to Tully Talks. And today we're going to be talking the movie Matrix. Okay, but before we get into that, thank you as always for stopping by. I always appreciate you guys and girls and everyone in between taking their time out to listen to little old me. I hope to have earned you a subscription. If so, hit the red subscribe button down below. Hit all on the notifications, little bells there. Like, comment, share. Tell me some ideas that you have for my future Retro Blast playlist that this is going to be a part of. And the movie Big and Clueless so far. It's going to be a running thing I'm doing every Sunday. So stay tuned. This is going to be the first regular video series that I'm guaranteeing you that every Sunday I'm going to be doing what I call a Retro Blast. Movie's got to be 10 years old or older, would have been a big hit at the time, or accumulated cult following. On another note, before we dive into The Matrix, which was recommended by a friend of mine on Facebook, I've come into some recent hurdles as far as wanting to create social media pages and websites and trying to create possible merch. Due to things I'm really not going to get into too much on the specifics or the details, it's just I'm going to have to wind up changing the name a slight variant of the name of this channel. That's going to happen in 2 weeks from today. I'm going to gently remind you guys over the next 2 weeks of that happening. That's why I want to give it some time, so you guys can keep in mind that when the new name does pop up in a couple of weeks, which I'm going to keep under wraps for now, or probably even until then. But that's going to be the reason why for the name change in 2 weeks, and why I'm waiting 2 weeks for that name change to happen, so then anyone who's watching my videos, our episodes, our videos, our channel, and anyone who is a future subscriber and viewer, you're gonna maybe know why some of my earlier or older videos is going to be presented. It's going to be a slight difference, just same content, the same approach, but I also want to grow our channel enough to where I can present people and their talents as well. I'd be up for amateur comedians, amateur singers, or musicians and such, where if you want to come and perform for the audience, I'm more than willing to include that, but while staying true to how I started the channel and continue to grow that way as well. I wanted all of us to have a spotlight on this channel, and I'm going to try to make the name encompass that too. So, but let's get into it. Tully Talks Matrix Retro Blast today. Came out March 31st, 1999. So, many years ago, over 20 years ago. $63 million budget. Made $465 million, so made over $400 million. I'm assuming even in today's inflation, that's a lot of money. We got the main character, Neo, played by keanureeves. Keanu Reeves, obviously, as Neo, the hero of what would eventually be the franchise. Carrieannmoss as Trinity, Laurence Fishburne as Morpheus, Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith, and another character that I want to also include, because he's kind of like a major name too, Joe Pantoliano, who plays Cypher. The story was created by Lana and Lily Wachowski, sibling writers and directors of, again, what would eventually be the franchise. Won 4 Academy Awards for Best Visual, Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Film Editing. It starts off with Neo as a computer programmer, and he spends his time like hacking into what I would assume be like dark web stuff and what have you. And he gets prompted to follow the White Rabbit, which leads him to proceed to go to some club. He meets Trinity, and eventually leads into meeting Morpheus, because Morpheus is some sort of urban legend or what have you, a name that's well known but not sure if he exists or not. Basically, the big first encounter between Laurence Fishburne's Morpheus and Keanu Reeves' Neo is that not everything is what it seems. The style, like the wardrobe, the look of the movie was very good. I know I'm changing topics real quick, but I actually like how everything looked in the movie. As far as wardrobe, it seemed to fit. Eventually, Morpheus proposes to Neo. The more parodied scene of the movie. There's a couple of high parody scenes from the movie, but this is one of them that people still use today: the red pill or the blue pill. Now, the red pill is basically going to allow you to stay in what is come to known as the matrix. The blue pill will open you up to what reality really is about and how to use the matrix to your advantage. With some prompting, Neo is led to believe this. We come to find out that the life he's been living has been a lie. The life that everyone he's encountered in this simulation, as we find out, a fraud world, a fake reality. Everyone else in that reality is also under the assumption that it's real to them. But in the real world, we have these species that are using the human race as basically batteries, for lack of a better term. They're using our energy, our life force to power their machines and technology and what have you. And the longer they can keep us alive in these pods of liquid goo and stuff, and kind of simulate our mind into giving us our wildest dreams so we don't question it, or at least give us a life that we think that would be satisfying. You know, sometimes these people will wake up on their own and realize they're living in the matrix. And sometimes Morpheus finds these people out, and Trinity, to help them save the human race against these species of aliens, from, basically aliens. So then we lead into Morpheus training Neo in the art of using the matrix to your advantage. You can create any outfit you want. You can create anything you want. You can have any form of information downloaded basically into your head at the drop of a dime. As he's learning all this, they use the example of how to drive a motorcycle. You know what I mean? Like the technical manual of ignite. Put the key in ignition. The technical terms of riding a motorcycle is downloaded into Neo's brain. So that's kind of where you can kind of get to know how to do some of this stuff. But you still see Neo fail in the training, so it's not like he may have the information in his brain on how to do it, but the execution is still coming short because he's learning. You know what I mean? Only through failure will you learn how to achieve the best version of yourself. And I'm glad that they add that in the training montages, where he's not. Yes, you have the information, but how you execute that information isn't always going to translate out to what you want it to be. And this is where a bit of the real world starts hitting Neo and realizing what can possibly be at stake for the human race. Him and Trinity start, obviously, if you're a fan of this movie, form a love interest with each other and eventually fall in love, and they follow that love story throughout the movies. There's 2 sequels with Matrix 4 on the way. Some people are wondering how that's going to happen, because it seemed like Neo and Trinity might have died at the end of the 3rd one. I haven't seen the 2nd and 3rd one in a while, so I kind of forget how exactly that whole thing transpired at the end of the movie. I just remember them saving the day, so I'd have to rewatch that and see how they could possibly come back with that. It's a big movie in pop culture. It's referenced a lot in a lot of different parody movies, just even comedy movies, this, that, the other. There's a funny line in this movie, Grandma's Boy, where this character dresses kind of like how you would in The Matrix, like a big leather trench coat, all black, everything. And someone asks him, like, hey, how much do clothes cost in The Matrix? Like, it's funny because it's the hair slicked back and gelled to the head, and everything is sleek and aerodynamic, and it's leather this and guns that and all black everything. And it innovated the slow-mo technique where the bullets go flying as you're dodging them, and it makes that little ripple effect of it, breaking the air around it or whatever. That's how fast it's moving. It's moving so fast, it's going slow. That technique has been parodied in many, many movies. One of the best effects of that, though, is in that Quicksilver scene of one of the X-Men movies where they break out Magneto and Peter Evans is just running to knock out the guards. That slow-mo, I'm so fast, I'm slow-mo scene worked there, and that kind of originated back to this series of films of Neo being able to dodge all these bullets, stop them. The major enemy in this movie, of course, is Agent Smith, played by Hugo Weaving. One of my favorite parts he's played in other movies was the Red Skull in Captain America: The First Avenger. Carrie-Anne played in Memento. I know she was in Jessica Jones and like those Marvel, like those Marvel Netflix shows. She did good in those. Keanu Reeves, come on, that guy is a legend, you know what I mean? Bill and Ted. He got his recent run with the Cyberpunk 2077 game. I think he was a spokesperson on that for a little while. The Matrix, Knock Knock. John Wick. Thank you. I can't believe I couldn't remember John Wick, but John Wick. He's had a good run, and with this kind of put him back on the map as an entertainer that people were willing to invest in, because seems like a really down to earth dude, and you know, if you're going to watch a Keanu Reeves movie, you know what you're getting into, man. Like, it's a great time popcorn movie, and he's just fun. He's a fun personality to get behind because not many personalities are famous or really give off a genuine vibe like he does, or be willing to kind of really be happy for his success. Lawrence Fishburne was in a bunch of other things too. I'm trying to remember some of the things I can't. Ant-Man, I think the first Ant-Man he was in, he was the original Goliath. I know he was in a bunch more. Deep Cover, Boys in the Hood. That was one of my more favorite movies too, and he was a really excellent part in that too. But yeah, it set off 2 sequels, a 3rd sequel on the way, making it 4 movies altogether. I know there was some sort of animated project attached to that I am not too sure of. It had a lasting, long impact on fashion, the way movies were presented, the 360 view. Like I said, the slow-mos, a lot of it kind of stemmed from around that time of The Matrix. But if you watch Blade, which came out a little while before, you can kind of see some Matrix stuff in Blade. So keep that in mind too. If you ever like that style of action, go back and watch Blade from earlier that year or the end of the year prior, and you can see that there's a lot of action that kind of matches sometimes. But yeah, that's it. The retro blast of Matrix. Excellent look to it, and it really makes you think, oh, Cypher. That's who I want to talk about real quick before I completely end the Cypher. Betrayed the team because he wanted to live in the Matrix. Okay, he had the choice to stay free or to go back to the Matrix, and he was like, why do I want to stay in the real world eating this drudge? You know, because they're kind of eating like watery protein type of oatmeal looking like watery grits type of thing, or I can live in the Matrix, unbeknownst to me that I am living in the Matrix and eat steaks and drink whiskey and this and that. So he chose to live his life in an oblivious mode, as everyone else a lot of other people may have chose to live in the Matrix too besides him. Does that make him a coward? Does that make him a bad guy? Turning your team in kind of makes you a bit of a fuckboy. If you wanted to just go back to the Matrix, you could have just went back and gave them some false information and just be like, oh, I don't know, that's what time they were there. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just tried to play some red herring shit and still hope that they could put you back in the Matrix. So that's the only downfall of what makes me not feel Cypher as I understand the motivation, but at the expense of you guys, that's where I kind of am like, you know, don't downfall you guys, bro. I mean, if you want to go back, but don't like take down your other, not at the expense of tearing someone else down. So I'm curious of what you would do. Would you be willingly staying in the Matrix, or would you take the other pill and live in the real world and try to take down this species, keeping the humanity under wraps and try to save the world? I mean, or not even save the world, but at least live in the fact that you're living in reality. You know what I mean? I don't know. With technology the way it goes, and the more immersive and everything it's gonna get, and how it touches in the show Black Mirror, that you can live in a technology eventually that you can maybe get stuck in and realize you're not stuck in it, or be so willing to live in it even though you know it's fake that you don't care it's fake. You know what I mean? People in real life submit to simulations of their own making, whether it be through drinking, doing drugs, gambling, shopping, eating. These type of things are a simulation that we're trying to create in our mind to make everything feel alright. So technology is not going to be any different in that regard. And it's a real good starting point for that debate and thought process on how immersive should technology be, how immersive should and dependent on technology should we be, and where do we go from there? Now that there's not going to be many generations after my generation that were born before this technological boom, in that regard, to where children now, if they're born at the time of this recording, 2021, and in 44 years it'd be 2065, this technology and the platforms are going to be so different, or such a evolution of what they once were, that if I survive that long, if I make it to 90, I mean, I even recognize or remember I have to look at these old videos to be like, oh wow, how different it was. Yeah, but that's that kind of that's my thoughts of The Matrix and the impact it left. Great movie. I give it a 9 out of 10. I give it a 9 out of 10. I like a lot of the effects of it. I do like, sometimes it's a little too dark for me, so it's kind of annoying a little bit, because I'm trying to figure out where everyone is. So that's kind of a nitpick. The action scenes are great. I liked Keanu Reeves in it. I think he did well in it. I think everyone did well in it for the parts that they were portraying. And I thought it was smart to get in and out of the Matrix. You had to use a payphone. If they made the Matrix now, it would have to be a cell phone, because how many payphones are actually literally left to kind of like use as a prop in a movie? I'm sure not many. Yeah, but that's my views of The Matrix. Let me know what your favorite Matrix part was. Seeing what, did you like part 2 and 3? Do you think that was a necessary film franchise to continue? Let me know what you think down below. And as always,